What's up, guys? Happy Tuesday. I'm Chuck Silver. This is DFS Jayhawk. We're here with Occupy Fantasy to talk about DraftKings and FanDuel. It's a pretty interesting one. DraftKings has the four games on the slate. They cut off the last two, Lakers at Utah and was it Portland at Phoenix, right? I think the FanDuel slate is so much more interesting since it has those two games, but that also means the DraftKings night slate should be super, super interesting. So I think my camera's lagging a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't mess with the audio. But Jayhawk, how are we doing?
Yeah, man, doing great. Super fun slate tonight. Obviously, Michael Porter kind of highlights the slate tonight. Super chalky both sides, so excited to talk that through. But excuse my voice, I don't know what's going on. But yeah, fun slate tonight.
Yeah, appreciate everybody showing up early. Greg, Justin, Swerve, Heath, Ben, Luke. Might have said Luke twice. Barry, appreciate you guys. Is four Nets too many? I think so. We'll talk about that a little bit when we get to the Nets, though. I'm very interested in Michael Porter. It's projected for 49% ownership on DraftKings, only 28 on FanDuel. That makes sense because they have the two extra games. But I think he looks great, and then Nicholas Claxton looked great too. From the other guys, I don't know that I'd want more than one or two of them in the lineup, but we'll talk about that when we get to Brooklyn. Did you have a different answer?
No, I completely agree. Against Boston, I don't want to get more than probably 2 to 3 tops.
Okay, nice. Hold on. Let's see. Jose, early with the quick hitters. Which game looks the best? On DraftKings, I think I'm not like super heavy on any one game, but Spurs Memphis is pretty good. Spurs are all slightly mispriced with Wembanyama being out for a bit. I'm getting to Derek White and Peyton Pritchard and Jalen Brown. Those two Nets guys I mentioned. Yeah, I'm pretty spread out. I don't know that any one game stands out among the rest, at least over on DraftKings, over on FanDuel. Yeah, Spurs, Memphis. My three highest exposed guys on FanDuel right now are from San Antonio. What about you, Jayhawk?
Yeah, pretty much on the same page. The Memphis game looks awesome. Um, and I think the Atlanta game potentially, we just got news that a Kong was in, but I think that game looks great as well.
Yeah, I wasn't able to update my stuff. We got the news Porzingis was ruled out right as the stream started, so that's going to be the other big one today. What else was going on with injury news today, Jayhawk?
Uh, your boy LeBron James is back tonight, and let's see who else here. I think that's pretty much it for the most part.
Just double check. Yeah, Cade was still questionable. That's going to be a big one. Danis
Oh yeah,
Jenkins has basically been mini Cade in his absence. I don't know if Duran was still questionable, but he did end up playing yesterday. He played quite a few minutes too, so maybe he ends up sitting. But we're projecting him in for now. I feel like there was one or two more. Kaminga's still out. Castle's still out. Jaw is out for Memphis. Sar Thompson questionable for the Pistons. He was questionable too. Yesterday he got ruled out late. Jalen Suggs is questionable. Zach Edey is in. That's right. Tobias Harris was questionable. And Zachary Ricochet got ruled out. Did you see Ricochet's fall the other night, dude?
know what happened.
He was on a fast break dunk and he just slipped and he did a full flip in the air. I thought he landed on his head, his neck, his back, but it said hip, which seemed like a good result because it was one of the nastiest falls I've ever seen.
Yeah, I was kind of excited to maybe get to him today, so that sucks.
Yeah, we'll take a look at how that affects Atlanta. Give the model a few minutes to update. Do we need three or four Spurs for the late night? I haven't built for late night, but I imagine that I'm probably gonna have three or four Spurs. Are Spurs on the late night slate? If they're whatever slate they're on besides the main, I imagine if it's a two or three gamer, I'd have a bunch of Spurs, yeah. And top three cash plays for today. Well, for cash, if you're going to use a model, just sort by ownership. We got Vince Williams, De'Aaron Fox, Michael Porter, Julian Champagnie, Derek White, Desmond Bain, Keldon Johnson. Could probably fit most of those guys, and Cornette's probably going to be the cash center. So just whatever fits with the salary there. It's probably pretty similar on FanDuel. Just add Shaden Sharp, Denny Avdia, Colin Gillespie, maybe.
Yeah, completely agreed.
Duran only played 28 minutes yesterday. All right. Well, I was following the play-by-play during that game, and it seemed like he was doing something every play. So felt like he played a lot. Last back-to-back, he played 37 and 39. Yeah, we're pretty interested in Jalen Duren tonight. It's fifth overall play on the model. Maybe this goes up you know, point 0.1 or point 0.2 when a kid gets ruled out. But let's jump into this first game here, Jayhawk. What is the first game?
It is Orlando in Golden State.
All right, let's jump to Orlando. So still without Paolo Banchero, Jalen Suggs, I mentioned, is questionable. Franz Wagner showing up double-digit OF index. Desmond Bane's been disappointing, and Tristan Da Silva still getting disrespected with this ownership. If Paolo's out and Tristan's starting, we haven't projected for 31 minutes. I will mention, like these are really good value scores, but at 31 minutes, I would have thought they might be a little higher. What do you think about Orlando?
Yeah, I think Orlando looks great here, especially at their ownerships. Obviously, Franz Wagner, I love here both sides. Pretty good price. So really like Franz Wagner. And then Suggs, did we get confirmation on him? Is he
He's
confirmed it?
questionable.
Still questionable. Yeah, so if he sits, I think you maybe could go back to Anthony Black here, 4,900. And then, yeah, Tristan Da Silva, man, I had him in the Discord yesterday. Fantastic play here once again. Super low owned. And then Desmond Bain in the mid tier, I think, is slow as well. So I really like Orlando here. I think they're in a great spot.
Yeah, I have to say, I think the player that I'm most interested in though here is it's Tristan Da Silva at that ownership. I'd be very surprised if he actually came in this low owned. But the industry still has kind of a poor projection for him. For this 5K price on DraftKings, I had to bump him up a couple to get a decent amount. But over on FanDuel, the 4,400 is a lot easier. Just have the two extra games, so more players to pick from. And I'll mention Wendell Carter. 20% on DraftKings versus 3% on FanDuel. I think this is a spot we can get to a little bit. He had a pretty good game last time, just got into some foul trouble, but I think he looks pretty good. It's not too hard to get to this 20% on DraftKings. It is a little bit difficult to get over on FanDuel, though.
Yeah, don't don't hate that shot. Obviously, Cornet, I do prefer right above him, but yeah, good play there, I think.
Let's go to the Golden State side. So Moses Moody put up, what, 50 the other day or something stupid? Um, well, he's projected for 4 and 9% ownership. This 5,700 on DraftKings is just really, really hard to get to, but the 4,600 on FanDuel seems pretty good at 9%. We know he's going to be starting. He's projected for 29 minutes. So I think Moses Moody is actually the play that stands out here. But I also like getting to Steph and Jimmy Butler. What are you seeing here?
Yeah, so starting with Moses Moody, I think he's fine, particularly on FanDuel, 4,600, still a great price over there. And then I do prefer Steph here once again, 14% owned. I think it might have been a year ago today. We covered the same exact game and Steph ended up nuking against Orlando. So maybe we could see a random nuke spot for Steph here, but I do prefer other plays here on this slate.
Yeah, I'm not like jamming in Steph or Jimmy, but I am at least with the field or over on both of those guys. And then Moses Moody, I'm getting to a little bit over on FanDuel, not really getting there on DraftKings.
Yeah, one more question. How do you feel about Draymond here? Both sides had his price.
On FanDuel at the 5,400, I actually like that a lot. The 6,500 on DraftKings, it's a shorter slate, so yeah, we do have less options, but it doesn't sound as good.
Yeah.
I will mention though, I feel like Orlando is kind of a good matchup for Draymond, just the way that the game flow is expected to be anyway. So I don't mind him, but much better play over on FanDuel at the 7% projected ownership.
Yep, totally agreed here.
And let's get to these Nets here. Yeah, I guess this is going to be a popular spot. So Michael Porter Jr. looks great in the model, high value on both sites. So does Nick Claxton. I think those are the two plays that really stand out here. And then from the rest of them, it's picking from these value plays. So what do you like on the Nets?
Yeah, so obviously you touched on, I think MPJ is fine both sides. I do have kind of a take here. I think he's a little bit overowned. I mentioned I like Franz and Bain in that Orlando game, so I might get to a little bit more of those guys, but nothing wrong here with MPJ. I just think even on a four gamer, 50% does seem kind of high. But I do like Claxton here on the other side. Boston, very bad against big, so completely fine with Nick Claxton here. But yeah, that's kind of my hot take for today.
Yeah, over on FanDuel, it's a lot harder to get to these guys. Michael Porter Jr. projected for 28%. I'm not quite there. I'm not too far below it though. And then Claxton, what projected for 9% on FanDuel? I'm actually 2x the field on Claxton over there. And then I wasn't expecting this, but I have a lot of Claxton over on DraftKings. I'm like 3x the field right now. I'm probably going to turn that down, and I'm with the field on Michael Porter. So I guess the player that stands out the most compared to ownership is actually going to be Nick Claxton, who is model approved. He's only 6,400. It's just, the opportunity cost of using up that center or utility spot on him. But yeah, I think Nick Claxton's actually going to be my top play from this team. But Michael Porter looks very good too. I have a bunch of lineups with both.
Yep, love Clarkson tournaments right there with you.
After them, it's kind of awkward with these value plays because I'm pretty sure, depending on what optimizer you're using around the industry, they're gonna like these Brooklyn value guys. But I kind of want to turn all of them down and save those spots for later. Like I'm getting a few percent of Tyrese Martin, who the model is just not really into today. It's just this 3,800 price is really useful. You see, it's projected for 0% ownership on FanDuel. That's probably correct. Um, and then Terrence Mann was showing up a bit for me too, but same kind of deal. His value is just poor. He's only projected for 10 and 2% ownership, so we can get there. Igor Denham, Zaire Williams, Noah Clowney, all these guys are kind of in the same boat for me. So Noah Clowney has really shown that ceiling. Very risky, but at the 11% we can get there. I don't know. I don't want to lock up these roster spots early. Just we might get a little bit in that last game because DraftKings has the Grizzlies Spurs, so maybe we get a weird starting lineup or something. But either way, I think we'd rather use those spots on the Spurs that we know are going to play tonight over multiple of these Brooklyn cheap guys.
Yeah, just the mix for all these value guys very volatile. I don't really like any of these guys down here. I'm right there with you.
I mean, just going with the model order, this is the model order. These aren't strong value scores, but if they're maybe last play in type guys, then that's not a big deal. And then sorting for FanDuel, it's pretty much the same thing. Let's see. Let's do the other side of this game and we'll get to a couple questions. But Boston, yeah, I mentioned that I like paying up for Derek White. I like getting up to Jaylen Brown. And then I don't like getting to Peyton Pritchard, but I am getting there today. And I see Kata is actually going to be projected pretty strong value today. What do you think about these guys?
Yeah, so starting with Derek White, love him both sides here. Just really like the spot for him. Totally fine with Jaylen Brown. Like you mentioned, he's been just dominating the usage per usual. Totally fine there. And then I love Neemias Queta as well. I'm right there with you. Kind of like going both Queta and Clarkson, getting overweight on both of them. Really like him in this spot. So yeah, I love Queta. And then yeah, Pritchard, I kind of want to hear your take because I think he's fine, but I do prefer White here. So yeah, that's kind of my take here.
Yeah, it's weird because over on DraftKings, I mean, he's projected for 36% ownership on DraftKings, Derek White, but I'm over that 36%. Well, I'm only half the field on him over on FanDuel, but then I'm over on Jaylen Brown on FanDuel, about twice the field, and I'm under on Derek White there. So it's just, I guess I'm preferring the 7,200 price for White on DraftKings and 8,600 for Jaylen Brown on FanDuel. Just that couple hundred, I guess, matters today. But they both look pretty good to me. And then Peyton Pritchard, like I mentioned, I don't love it, but he's showing up and his price works. If we do get Danis Jenkins starting again, I imagine a lot of my Peyton Pritchard ownership is just going to swap to Danis Jenkins.
Do you have any interest in Jordan Walsh on here potentially guarding MPJ 4,300? I know he's more of a defensive player, but any interest on there?
No,
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too.
no. I'll mention the model gives him value ratings that we can be interested in since he's only projected for 4 and 2% ownership. But this isn't the type of player that you want to play a high percentage in your exposures today. But if you get to a bit, you could even get 2x the field on him, 8 and 4%, and that would be a ton. And that would be enough if he ends up doing it. It's just he's not really a great fantasy producer. We do have him projected for 26 minutes. But my focus here is just mostly going to be on Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and then mixing in Kata.
Yep, agreed.
See Jose asking, can we rank Cornette, Carter Jr., and Kata? In terms of just fantasy points, I have Cornette, Wendell Carter, and then Kata in that order, but they're like one fantasy point apart. I have them super similar. Did you have any larger preferences between those three?
Yeah, definitely Cornette number one. Model loves him. I prefer him too. Then probably Carter and then Kata. But I think Carter and Kata are closer for me than Cornette.
Okay, yeah, the model has Cornette and Kata as the top two plays on both sites by value, so I guess they just win by default. We'll go ahead and put Wendell Carter in third place there. So maybe that's something to consider. Wendell Carter at this 3% on FanDuel is probably still fine. We can consider maybe getting away from this 20% Wendell Carter on DraftKings and just play a little bit more Kata and Cornet. But I do agree with Cornet being the top play. Kata is a little bit boom or busty, considering the other options we have on the slate. But I mean, model's telling us he's a stud today, so it's pretty interesting though with Jalen Duren, projected for 20 and 12%. Like he has the highest ceiling of any center on the slate today. He can put up 55 pretty easily, as we saw yesterday. And at this ownership, we can play two of these guys on DraftKings, so I don't mind that, mixing in Cornet and Duren or Kata and Duren. I imagine a lot of lineups are going to end up with Cornet and Kata, by default.
Yeah, for sure. I think like it's a really good night to go double center, like you mentioned. Just so many great plays here.
Yeah, throw Claxton in there too. All right, let's see. Bane has been garbage and burned you so much, and now you're not playing him. Watch him cook. That's how it goes, dude. The first time I crossed him out this season was that game he put up like 45 or something at low ownership. Cool. And then we let him in our exposures every other day, and he does nothing, and he's somehow always in our top scoring lineup. He's fine though. Let me just touch on Bane real quick. I guess we didn't talk about him much on Orlando. Like with Paolo out, he should be doing better. It's if he was in the 6K range, it'd be a lot more clear of a play. He's 7K and 7,300. I really think we can get away at these ownerships. If you're like not 0%, but he's projected for 33% on DraftKings. Just come in a little bit under that or half that even. I'm not personally not getting much Bane today, but yeah, he's there.
Yeah, one more thing to know with Bane, I know the model has him for 36, but he's been playing almost 40 minutes, at least the last two games with Paulo out. So I just wanted to note that.
Good call. And we just got word that Jalen Suggs is in. I'm getting a little bit over on DraftKings. I was getting more over on FanDuel of Jalen Suggs, so he's going to be in play now that he's ruled in. Let's see. Let's move on to the Pistons. Let's talk about the Hawks first. Maybe we'll get word about the Pistons while we're still here. But yeah, for the Hawks, we have no Porzingis. Let me refresh this. And Okongwu is confirmed in. Jalen Johnson is once again one of the top plays on the model. He's top play on DraftKings if we're just looking at the DK main. So what do you want to do with Atlanta?
Yeah, so Atlanta's been very good. Obviously, Jalen Johnson been awesome. I love Jalen both sides. I mentioned I'm probably be a little bit under in Porter, so getting to more Jalen because of that. And then I love a Conway here once again. Another center you can add to the center list. 7,200. He's flashed huge ceilings the last two games without Kristaps. Then after that, Vic Krejci, Dyson Daniels are all low owned, but I'm just not too high on those guys down low. So just mainly the bigs here for Atlanta.
Yeah, I'll throw out Vit Krejci as like a deep GPP flyer. Maybe if you're hand building a lineup, you have a shooting guard, small forward position open, and you have the salary that makes him fit. I think he's fine to throw in. He's most of the time going to give you nothing, but once in a while, he's going to give you, what did he put up, 30 something the other day?
Yeah.
Yeah, 34, 40 in a couple games there. So even this 25 wouldn't be a bad result. We're not super excited about it, but we like playing him for the potential to just get hot from three, make 6 threes, make 8 threes. So I don't mind that as a little call there. And other than Jalen Johnson, yeah, I'm with you on Onyeka Okongwu. He looks awesome. Lot easier play when he was in the 6K range. Now he's up to 7,200. We have some decisions, but I think he still looks pretty good. A little bit easier to get to on FanDuel because he's power forward eligible. And I mentioned Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I've kind of talked down on him on the slate or on these shows in the last few slates that we've had him on, but I don't know. I think he's okay over on FanDuel to 6,100. I don't really understand how he's even getting 8% ownership at 6,800 on DraftKings, though.
Yeah, I love that shot. I mean, he is expensive, but with these guys out, I think he does get a pretty big boost here. So totally fine getting there.
Yeah, it's like on DraftKings at 6,800. I'm like 6 or 7 fantasy points away from Nickeil Alexander-Walker making it into any lineup. So that might just be a fade on DraftKings, but it's so weird because the model loves him for his DK value. 15.1. It's like the 4th best value play on the slate on DraftKings at 6,800. So, trust the model, I guess, if you want to take shots there. Let's Let's take a look at Detroit, even though we don't have this news yet. Obviously, if Cade is out, we're going to be very interested in Danish Jenkins. His price still hasn't been adjusted, and he's just in the winning lineup every day. He put up, what, 26 real points yesterday? Um, Cade's pretty good. So, as it stands now, like outside of Cade and Jenkins, what do we want to do with the Pistons?
Yeah, so we briefly touched on Duran. 15% projected ownership, probably too low for his upside. So love Duran in tournaments. With Tobias potentially being back here, it just kind of muddies up kind of the forward rotation. So to me, it's Duran, Cade if he plays, and then I don't really want to get to Stewart. So I'd probably say my priorities here, Duran and Cade if he plays. Obviously, Jenkins if Cade misses.
Yeah, if Cade misses, it's just such a big slate changer because Jenkins is projecting like good enough that he's going to show up in half the field's lineups. He was 50% owned yesterday. It's probably too low to be honest. Price hasn't been adjusted. Atlanta's not a bad matchup, so Jenkins will completely flip the slate
100%.
if we get that. Yeah.
Top play on the slate for sure.
And then this Isaiah Stewart guy, dude. This guy was chalk yesterday, completely bombed, and what he's projected for 1% ownership today at basically the same price. I think he's even cheaper today. I don't hate taking shots on him since no one else wants to. I think it's okay.
Yeah, I think he had like 4 or 5 blocks too. I mean, he could have had a way bigger game.
That's the thing. Like he only kind of didn't kill us on FanDuel because of the blocks. We need him to hit some threes and get some rebounds. But he's not a good play. But at 0 and 1% ownership, I think it's okay to mix him in there. And someone asked about Guy in the chat. I guess we didn't mention him. He's coming off the bench now with because they're going to start what? Who are they starting?
Should be Johnson, Naw, Akongwu, Dyson, and then one of Kennard or Critchy, right?
Yeah, I think they've done a couple different starting lineups. I'm not expecting Gaye to start here tonight against this Detroit team. I guess if he starts, that's something to consider. But off the bench at 42 and 3,900, 1% owned. Model thinks he's terrible, but I think he's fine to mix in a few percent in your lineups as a last man in type guy.
Yeah, he's fine at 1%. I worry about just if we're getting to Akongwu getting to get, but he's fine at 1%.
And now let's get to the team of the night, the Spurs. So no Victor Wembanyama, no Stephon Castle. Just think about these guys as what would their price be if they were properly adjusted for Castle and Wembanyama's usage going away. Like De'Aaron Fox, maybe this is like close to the appropriate price, but I think everyone else, maybe Harrison Barnes is appropriate, but everyone else should be slightly more expensive, I think. So break down the Spurs for us.
Yeah, so starting with Fox, both sides here. I think he's a smash play. Love him on both sides. And then Luke Cornett, I think is kind of my second core play here. Just very good price both sides, model approved. So those are kind of the guys I like the most here. And then in terms of the peripheral guys here, Champagne, Keldon, and Vassell, I actually do prefer Vassell the most out of these guys. Shockingly, I just think his minutes and upside is super high here without Wemby and Castle. So that's my third. And then I want to hear your take here on Champagne versus Keldon. What's your take there? And then, because I just don't know what I want to do with those two.
Over on DraftKings, over on DraftKings, I actually have pretty much the same exposure to Keldon and Champagne, which is a lot. Not quite at this 42%, but just under it. And then I'm slightly over on Keldon Johnson. I think they both look great. Model's going to slightly prefer Champagne, so if you need that tiebreaker, you can just go with the model there. And then over on FanDuel, the model greatly prefers Champagne. And Champagne is actually one of my highest exposed guys over on FanDuel. So is Devin Vassell. And De'Aaron Fox is, as of right now, my highest exposed player on FanDuel. So very heavy on Spurs.
Yep, completely agreed. Great spot.
Yeah, getting a ton of, De'Aaron Fox is basically my highest exposed player on DraftKings too. Yeah, so I guess that price is not appropriate for him with all those other guys out. Luke Cornett, not getting as much as I expected to, but I mean, we have so many strong center plays that I guess it makes sense to kind of mix it up. And Vassell, just the price is a lot friendlier over on FanDuel. So maybe this is actually slightly underowned on DK at that 14%, and on FanDuel 5,400. I'm over this 34%. I don't want to say he's underowned though. That's pretty healthy ownership.
Yeah, and then I wanted to hear your take on Kelly out here. Do you like him at all in tournaments? I'm kind of underweight personally.
He seems like a pretty good pivot. I wouldn't play him and Luke Cornett in the same lineup, but I mean, Luke Cornett can get into foul trouble. Kelly O can come in, and he's a pretty good fantasy point per minute guy. It wouldn't be very surprising to see him come in and just drop 20 fantasy points in 15 minutes or something. So I don't mind mixing him in. I am with this 11% on DraftKings. I don't know if I ended up getting there on FanDuel though. He has
And
power forward eligibility.
Harrison Barnes, what do we want to do there?
I think we want to. My first instinct is we want to get over on Harrison Barnes,
Let's do it.
especially over on FanDuel at 4,200. This is really good. He's only 13% owned. I mean, all these guys have really strong FanDuel value, so mix them in. Maybe on FanDuel it's more okay to play for Spurs than it is over on DraftKings. It's still fine on DraftKings, but the prices just make it a lot better over on FanDuel.
Yep, model loves him on FanDuel. I'm right there with you. I love him over there.
Are you concerned about having any of these guys other than Kelly O and Luke Cornett? I don't really care what combinations of guys I get here. They're all likely to share the floor.
Yeah, I'm not too worried, especially, some of these guys are super cheap, like Champagne, Vassell's too cheap, and then Barnes is 42 on FanDuel. So, yeah, I just wouldn't want to get two San Antonio centers, like you mentioned.
Sochan, I'm feeling kind of bearish on him, but the field is too. He's one of the lower owned guys here, along with Harrison Barnes. Maybe we can take some shots on him and just hope that the minutes are a little bit higher than we're projecting. But I do think he's probably the worst play out of these other guys here.
For sure. I don't know if I have much Sohan at all, so I'm with you there.
And then Greg, to answer your question, top three Spurs that we're going to use. Well, the Spurs are great for value plays, and then I have De'Aaron Fox as a better pay up than Jaylen Brown or Derek White. So De'Aaron Fox wins, and the Spurs value play wins. I think we just have to go with the model. Luke Cornett, Devin Vassell, and then De'Aaron Fox's OF index is really strong, so we'll go with those are the top three plays here. But Champagne, Barnes, Keldon Johnson are all very good too.
Yep, that's exactly how I'd put it.
Stern's birthday today. Someone had a birthday narrative the other day, and they didn't do shit.
I feel like I know who you're talking about. I can't remember who it was.
Do we think Luke Garza is worth a punt dart? What team is Luke Garza on?
Boston.
It's kind of the same deal with Cornett and Kelly O with Luke Garza versus Kada. Kada can get in foul trouble. Like by itself, Luke Garza probably not a great play. And he's coming in at 10% ownership on DK, but the 3,300 could be useful. Again, just takes up a center spot, so it's tough. Just ask yourself, like, what score would we really need out of Luke Garza for him to, help us build our lineup tonight?
A lot.
Yeah, not loving it. I think there's too many other value centers that are a lot more in a lot more of a clear situation that are also underpriced. Luke Garza's not necessarily underpriced. Yeah, Fox on FanDuel Unicorn. I agree. Julian Champagne or Simons. You have a first instinct reaction to that, Jayhawk?
Very chalky take, but Julian Champagne.
Yeah, I agree with Champagne. I will mention though. Oh, where is he? Anthony Simons? Dang, model doesn't like Anthony Simons today. Yeah, I think that one is pretty clearly Champagne. Model is telling us we don't really have to consider Anthony Simons, but for the same reasons I mentioned those other pivots, he's projected for pretty low ownership. He's in the low 4Ks. Like, it's okay if you have a few percentage of him, but if I was building one lineup today, Anthony Simons wouldn't be close to it. You have a weird feeling that Cade. Oh, you feel weird wishing that Cade sits. It's okay hoping for guys to sit when they need a little more rest. It's just hoping for injuries is what's not okay. But this is fine. Yeah, Jenkins, just like I said, he completely changes the slate. We're probably going to have close to 80-90% of them in our exposures today.
Yeah, pretty much a jam if Cade sits.
It was Paolo's birthday and he got hurt. That's just, how's that for a birthday narrative, folks? What do we think about Olynyk? We mentioned him. He's a pivot. I don't think he's great. There are just a lot of centers that we like today, and so I don't think Olynyk is that necessary because we have the value at other positions. We don't have to pay that down at center anyway. Is 4 Spurs too many? I don't think so. You think it's okay on both sides, Jayhawk?
Yeah, definitely is okay, especially on FanDuel. Harrison Barnes is 4,200, so totally okay both sides.
Yeah, we had a question earlier about four nets. I think four nets is for sure too many. I don't even know if I want three nets in a lineup. But maybe three is okay if it's MPJ, Claxton, and one of the value guys. But we're really going to prefer the Spurs. So that we need to get to Memphis. Nice. So Vince Williams was showing up a ton for me on DraftKings. I absolutely hate it, but might be bad to knock him down enough to not get as much. So what are you doing with Vince Williams today?
Yeah, so Vince Williams, I love him as a player, man. I'm kind of seems crazy, but trying to go overweight here. And then
Okay.
I didn't really understand the ownership on FanDuel. I mean, I know it's different side, but same price over there. So yeah, definitely interesting. And then Santi Aldama, 24 and 10%. I like him. I worry about the rotations here, man, just with their coach. So I think Santi is fine, but Vince here is the priority for me.
Yeah, I'm never really into Aldama unless Jaren Jackson Jr.'s out. Not really into Aldama today, but he's just a guy who shows up. I mean, I have 18% of him on DraftKings. I don't like it. I'm actually going to try to turn that down. I didn't get there on FanDuel. And then Vince Williams, he's in every lineup that I made today. I'm going to turn him down a little bit. I don't want him in every lineup. He's a good value play, but just yeah, if he puts up this 33, he's very necessary. But if he puts up this 23, he can be beaten. Remember what happened with DeAndre Hunter yesterday? 97% DeAndre Hunter gave us 19 points at that super incorrect price. So I don't know. Vince Williams, he's going to be in a ton of my lineups. He's projected for 50% ownership on DraftKings. I can't say it's incorrect, but we do have other pivots today.
So Jaren's 6,600 on FanDuel. Are you jamming him or are you going underweight? What's your take there?
I mean, I turned him down, and I have 40% Jaren Jackson still. I'll mention the model isn't identifying him as a super strong value on FanDuel, even at that incorrect pricing. It's identifying Zach Edey as a better value, actually, at a slightly lower price. So it's hard to get away from Jaren Jackson at that dumb price with what the industry projections are giving him. But I mean, even the model has him at a 9.0 OF index, which at his price is pretty great. I'm not going to tell you to get away, but I don't feel great about it.
Yeah, I don't love the spot with San Antonio. Like even without Wemby, they got pretty tall defenders.
Yeah. I mean, Luke Cornett is what's his nickname? Vanilla something? White
something,
Vanilla?
something like that.
It's
Yeah.
pretty great. There was someone else here. Cedric Howard was showing up a little bit for me. The model, 7.8 OF index. These value scores aren't great. FanDuel seems a little bit better, though, at 5,500 and 5% ownership. I don't mind taking that shot.
Yeah, definitely 6,300. Like he does have a ceiling. You really need him to play at least those 27 minutes, though, in my opinion.
Yeah. Anyone else you want to mention here?
Not. I don't think so. Like Zach Edey, maybe we could get to as a pivot to Jaren, but yeah, that's the only other spot.
Man, spent way too much time on the DK slate. I mean, I already had this dummy build, so if you guys haven't heard, if you're not in our Discord, we actually had an update to the lineup builder come out this morning. You can try it out, and it's just a couple more features that we are interested in. And this is basically like the optimal lineup, or second optimal lineup from the builder. The optimal that the builder gave me had Tyrese Martin, so I didn't want to run that. But Jayhawk, what do you think about this as a dummy build? Let's take out Zaire, take out Coward. Are you cool with everyone else here?
Yeah, just the thing with Brooklyn here, I love how we have a Boston guy to run it back here. I think that's almost like a must for me.
Nice. Other high exposure guys I'm getting. I mean, you could swap in Derek White instead of Jaylen Brown as an idea. I don't mind getting Tristan Da Silva in here, even at that 5K price. What does
Love
that
it.
allow us? Leave us 5,200 for a shooting guard. We can get a Champagne shooting guard. Maybe there's a point guard we like. 5,200. Yeah, I mean, the same guys. You could finish out the lineup with Anthony Black, Cam Spencer, Vic Krejci. Maybe you find an upgrade somewhere else in there. But this isn't a bad one. What about if Cade gets rolled out and Danis Jenkins starts again?
Definitely got to get him in there, 6K.
Yeah, so we'd be 800 over. I think we can do that if we just swap. Is Derek White only? All right, let's get Vince Williams at shooting guard because Vince Williams is going to go in here either way, right?
For sure, yeah.
What
Definitely.
position is Vince Williams?
Is he-
Small forward, power forward? Seems wrong.
plays point guard, right? That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
he's basically their point guard. Yeah, so at the very least, he should be the shooting guard. We'll get Champagne in here, leaves us 8K. Yeah, we could get to Derek White, 7,200. Maybe upgrade one other position. Could also get to Duran, which is an
Yep,
idea too.
definitely like that.
Yeah, I think overall though, let's take MPJ out, take De Silva out. This is a pretty good core. Maybe take Claxton out, but Champagne, Vince Williams, Danish Jenkins, De'Aaron Fox. Maybe take Champagne out. Just pick your favorite San Antonio value guy. But I think these are going to be the three guys, assuming Cade's out.
100%. Yep. That's what I like.
Cornet. Yeah, we could have fit Cornet in there too. I mean, Jalen Johnson's pretty high on the model, but his price on DraftKings is kind of difficult to get to now. Fit in Vassal. Just a lot of stuff you guys can do here, but let's knock out these last two games for FanDuel. So Jazz Lakers, the Jazz. I watched this team and Keontae George, like he took a leap this year. I think he's so good. He just gets to the rim at will. He was top 10 in the NBA in free throws attempted. I don't know if he is anymore. That was last week, but him and Laurie dropping like 45 every single game. How interested are you guys? How interested are you in these guys at kind of lower ownership?
Yeah, so super interesting here with Utah against your Lakers here. Laurie's been on an absolute tear, man. 8,300 on FanDuel. What am I saying on FanDuel? He's only on FanDuel. Great price over there on FanDuel. Totally fine getting there. And then Keontae as well, 6%. Fine with both those guys at their ownerships. And then the rest of the team here, I don't have much interest in. How about you?
Yeah, I'm very far over the field on Laurie Markkinen over on FanDuel. I imagine I'm going to have a ton of him on the DraftKings night slate too. He's been awesome. I don't think industry projections are really accounting for the ceiling that he's had. His usage is through the roof, and Lakers are not a good defensive team. I know we have one of the best defensive anchors in the league in DeAndre Ayton, but we also have Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic defending the perimeter, so it's not great. Laurie should be able to do whatever he wants. Same goes for Keontae George. I like taking shots on him. It's just a little harder to get to Keontae because there's some other guards that look pretty good for their price, but it's not hard to get over the 6%. And then I've just been bumping Isaiah Collier up to like 27, 28 fantasy points every single day and getting over the field. He's been pretty great.
Yeah, he's a stud, man. Yeah, I'm glad he's finally back and playing.
Anything else that you want to mention here?
No, not too much. I mean, Ace Bailey, just with all these guys back, it's not much interest here.
Yeah, Ace Bailey's tough. I'm like kind of bearish on him overall anyway. He ended up having that one good game. And as for Nurkic, I thought I'd be interested in Nurk at the 6,300 price. He's probably still a pretty good GPP play at only 3% ownership. It's just we have so many centers to pick from that he becomes not a priority.
Yeah, pretty tough spot, I think, against Aiden as well.
And then Lakers, I have Luka projected for an insane amount of fantasy points tonight, and I still didn't really get much. It's kind of hard to fit him in. Like we have the value over on FanDuel, but we also have a lot of other payups we're interested in. De'Aaron Fox is the main one. Getting a ton of Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves, outrageous FanDuel value. I have Austin Reeves projected for like a really stupid amount of fantasy points today. I love him. What do you like from this team?
Yeah, pretty much right here with you. It's Luca and Reeves. I've always been kind of team Luca. I mean, obviously different price points, but I do still prefer Luca. I think here even with Reeves being the top FanDuel value. So I'm gonna go Luca over Reeves. But other than that, I think they're both great on FanDuel in tournaments here.
Like I have Austin Reeves projected for more fantasy points than Jaylen Brown. Seems pretty extreme. And then Luca, I have Luca projected for the most fantasy points on this slate by 15. De'Aaron Fox is second over on FanDuel. So just looking at the OF index, though, like Luca's number one by far, and then Austin Reeves isn't too far behind him. These are two of the best plays on the slate. We do have the value to get there. Like I said, it's just awkward because De'Aaron Fox is also a pay-up point guard, but you can fit De'Aaron Fox and Luca into lineups. Aiton looked okay at 6,200, but kind of the same deal. He's a center. And then I'm not really getting to anybody else here. Was there anyone else that you think we should be interested in with LeBron's return?
Not too much. No, I think Reeves and Luca are the guys here.
Okay, nice. And last game on the slate, Portland and Phoenix. ton of Colin Gillespie. We love Dylan Brooks here at Occupy, at least I do. And Devin Booker, I think, is a pretty great pay up, shooting guard eligible. What do you want to do with the Suns?
Yeah, shout out to your boy Dylan Brooks. Ended up getting overweight in him last night. He ended up crushing. So yeah, starting with him, I think he looks great here. Especially if you're not getting to Booker. I think he makes for a great play. So fine with Brooks here. Colin Gillespie man smashed last night. Price I think might have came down. So yeah, totally fine getting there once again. And then Booker, I think Booker is in a better spot here than he was last night, but my priority here is our Gillespie and Brooks person.
Yeah, Gillespie at 5,100 on FanDuel is one of my highest exposed guys. I think he's just a complete smash. Looks awesome.
Yeah.
And Dylan Brooks, what's his ownership on FanDuel? 24%. Yeah, the field's finally waking up. Yeah, we're a pretty decent amount over that 24%. Dylan Brooks projected stupid today too, but he scores 20 every single game. Hopefully he can keep it up against Portland. Was there anyone else down here? Did you want to look at Jordan Goodwin or Royce O'Neal?
Man, Royce has been very difficult, man. Even at his price, it just seems like he can get like no fantasy stats at sometimes. So you could go there. I don't love it. Ryan Dunn, cheap, but he's just not a great producer either. So I'm gonna go with Brooks here, top FanDuel value, Brooks and Gillespie, just to reinstate that.
Yeah, I did have a few percent of Royce O'Neal in my exposures. I think it's fine. Not really getting to anyone else here, though. I did get a couple percent of Jordan Goodwin, actually. So I don't know that I want to set the rule for max one of him and Gillespie. I think it's fine if I only end up with a couple lineups with both of them. I'm not too worried about it.
Are you getting any Mark Williams here at 14% projected?
Oh, I actually am over that 14%. Mark Williams, thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, I guess being under 6K, a lot of those other centers we were mentioning were over 6K. Mark Williams is 5,700 on FanDuel. I guess that is just enough for him to end up in there. It's interesting. Might adjust that down. I have a little bit too much right now. But I guess Mark Williams looks good today, yeah. And last team on the slate, Portland, still without Drew Holiday. Denny's been a stud. Shaden Sharp has been a stud. Donovan Clingan has been great. And Jeremy Grant. What do you want to do with Portland?
Yeah, Jeremy Grant is Jeremy Grant, man. But yeah, I think both Sharp and Denny here will look great. Obviously, both coming off really big games. Love them both here on FanDuel. No issues with either one. And then Jeremy Grant, he did get a slight price bump here, but totally fine with those three. I mean, those are pretty clearly my top plays here. Donovan Clingan, 5,300. We have a crap ton of centers today. I'm fine with it. I kind of worry about the spot here against Mark Williams, but yeah, just those top three. And then Tamani Kamara kind of was the guy. Didn't know what I wanted to do. 12% owned. Do you have a take there? And then what's your take here of the rest of the team?
I didn't think that I wanted it, but I'm probably going to be over that on Tamani Kamara. That 5,600 price just kind of works out at small for it, I guess. I don't have him projected like outstanding today, but he is showing up in a ton of my lineups. But I am well over on, I guess not well over, I'm over on Shaden Sharp, and then I'm with the field on Denny and Jeremy Grant. I'm with the field on Jeremy Grant too. Yeah, so I guess the only player I'm really over on here is Tumani Kamara. I'm not sure if I love it though. The model's not really identifying him as someone that we want to get too far over the field on.
Yeah, he's okay. I kind of agree. He's kind of there for me.
I was kind of interested in Chris Murray on the last slate. I didn't have time to bump him up. I think he got like 4 stocks and ended up getting there, but he's up to 3,800 on both sites now, projected for no ownership. I don't hate it. He's probably going to come into play more on the DraftKings night slate, though.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Definitely more of a smaller slate play for sure.
Cade is in. Did we just get that?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, Cade's in. Asar Thompson's in. Tobias Harris is out. We didn't get their starting lineup. Magic are starting the same guys with the Silva in there, and Warriors are starting that lineup they've been running. All right, so forget about Danis Jenkins. It's unfortunate.
Thanks.
Let's take a quick look at Detroit before we get out of here. So I don't know that I end up getting to really anyone here except for Jalen Duren. And then I do think Asar Thompson at 6,400 he has to be a good GPP play at only 5% ownership. We only have him projected for 27 minutes, but I usually say if these guys are ruled in, then they're good to go. So if he can get at least this 27 minutes, he's probably got to be a good shout at 5% owned and 6,400, maybe even on FanDuel too at 6,700, just a little bit tougher to get there since we have those extra options on FanDuel.
Yeah, I like that shot. 5% owned, he does have a ceiling, and I'm not worried about minutes here either. So definitely cool with that.
Wendell, 3.5 points in the first. It's so funny. I wonder what site that would be on. I turned off that stuff on my filter, so I can't pull that up right now. Don't have an answer for you on that one. Sorry. And Greg, I don't know if you missed it. Who do we play from the Lakers tonight? I think Austin Reeves and Luka are really the only two Lakers I'm going to get to on the main slates. Maybe on the night slate, I'll get to a couple more guys a little bit, but Reeves and Luka both look great. Anything else you want to mention, Jayhawk? I know you're going to start the Discord in a minute here.
Yeah, not too much. Make sure to not play Denise Jenkins now. It's a big thing.
Yeah, don't play Jameis Winston.
And yeah, it should be fun slate. De'Aaron Fox, obviously, top play of the night. So let's hope he goes off.
Yeah, I want to give these guys like one more top DraftKings play. What is it?
Let's see here. Derek White, I like a lot. I don't know if he's a tall play though.
He's like one of my highest owned guys, but yeah, same. I don't feel great about calling him one of the top plays.
I don't know if there's another like.
I guess he is. He's been a dude. He hasn't failed once.
I like him, man. I think he's a good play.
All right, we'll put Derek White in there. So this is probably a pretty good core with or without Cornette. There's a lot of centers. You could go to Duran, you could go to Okongwu, Nick Claxton, Cornette, Carter, Kata. Yeah, lots of stuff going on. Model prefers Cornette and Kata, but appreciate you guys tuning in. If you want to join that Discord, get another opinion from Jayhawk. Instructions to do that are in the description below. Remember, you can join the site for as little as $7 a week. It's $1 a day. Get you access to the model.